There is a fire sleeping inside you. It does not flicker gently. It does not whisper. It waits, smoldering beneath your routines, your doubts, your excuses. It waits for you to stop being average. It waits for you to remember that you were born not to survive, but to build, to rise, to conquer. And that fire, it has a name. Desire. Every revolution began with it. Every empire rose from it. Every fortune, every masterpiece, every miracle mankind ever pulled from the impossible started there. Not with talent, not with luck, not with resources, but with a soul that refused to settle. A heart that said, "This will be mine, or I will die trying." You think you need to be special to succeed. No. You need to be hungry. You need to want it so bad that sleep feels like betrayal, that comfort feels like poison, that quitting feels like a death sentence. Because here's the brutal truth. The world doesn't care about your dreams until you do. And when you do, when you finally light that fire, the world will move. They told you to be realistic, to wait your turn, to lower your expectations. They called you crazy when you whispered your dream to the wind, when you dared to imagine a version of your life that didn't come pre-packaged in mediocrity. But let me tell you something. So was Edison when he failed 10,000 times. So was Disney when they said he lacked imagination. So was Ford when he built an engine no one believed would run. They were laughed at, mocked, doubted, and still, they burned. Because the world has a long history of crucifying visionaries before building statues in their name. So if you feel that fire inside you, that ache to build something greater, if you've stared at your ceiling night after night, asking why you were born with this itch in your soul, understand this. That itch, that pull, that defiance against the ordinary, is your calling. It is the starting point of all achievement. Desire is not a wish. Wishes are cheap. Everyone has them. Desire is different. Desire is disciplined hunger. It's waking up early when there's no alarm but your ambition. It's working through pain when others are begging for breaks. It's staring rejection in the face and smiling, because you already saw the finish line in your mind 10,000 times. Desire is obsession made holy. It doesn't need permission. It doesn't seek comfort. It doesn't wait for the perfect conditions. It creates them. Desire builds bridges where there are no roads. It plants seeds in deserts and calls the rain by name. It moves mountains not by force, but by relentless vision and unshakable will. And when Mother Nature herself throws storms in your path, desire is the storm that roars back. Because here's what they won't tell you. The universe doesn't bend to the weak of will. But for those whose desire becomes identity, whose dreams are welded into their DNA, the universe doesn't just bend, it bows. You are not a machine. You are not a cog in someone else's vision. You are not meant to coast through life like a leaf in the wind. You are the wind, and you were built for storms. But you must stop negotiating with your potential. You must stop apologizing for wanting more. You must stop explaining your hunger to people who are still chewing on comfort. This is your life. This is your time. And this moment, is the beginning of everything. The first step toward riches is not in a course. It's not in a degree. It's not even in your network. It is in your soul's refusal to back down. It is in the whisper that becomes a roar. I will have this, or I will die trying. You want the world to remember your name? Start by refusing to forget it yourself. You want riches, not just in gold, but in impact, in meaning, in legacy? Then burn every blueprint they gave you. Torch every lie that said you needed approval. Because the first step toward riches is not money. It's not education. It's not even luck. It's desire, unfiltered, undiluted, undestroyable desire. Look around you. Every skyscraper began as a dream in the mind of a man who once stared at nothing but dirt and sky. Every revolution began with one man, one woman, who said, "Enough. This is not where my story ends." Desire doesn't care where you come from. It doesn't care about your past mistakes, your brokenness, your scars. In fact, it feeds on them. It turns pain into fuel, loss into purpose, failure into foundation. Desire doesn't hide from adversity. It walks straight into the fire and builds a home there because it understands what most never will. That greatness isn't handed down. It's carved out in blood, sweat, and relentless focus. When Carnegie walked into that steel mill, he saw more than molten metal. He saw the future of an industry. When Oprah looked in the mirror as a young, poor, abused girl, she didn't see brokenness. She saw the beginning of a miracle. And when Lincoln stood on that battlefield, when every voice screamed at him to compromise, to yield, he stood taller. Not because he was fearless, but because his desire to serve was louder than his fear to fail. And that's what it comes down to. It's not about who you are. It's about how much you want it. Let the others scroll. Let them waste their days debating, wishing, blaming, waiting. You've got fire to feed. Because every second you spend in doubt, someone else is building your dream. Every time you hesitate, your mountain grows taller. But every time you act, even small, even scared, you push the impossible 1 inch closer. So stop waiting for motivation. Motivation is for amateurs. Desire, real, all-consuming desire, doesn't wait. It wakes up hungry. It goes to sleep hungry. And it dreams while the rest of the world snores in comfort. You must choose now. Do you want it? Do you really want it? Or do you just like the idea of wanting it? Because desire, true desire, isn't comfortable. It's inconvenient. It will cost you friends. It will isolate you. It will test every inch of your faith. But if you survive the test, if you pass through the fire, if you build your resolve with every scar, then the world will not just know your name. It will echo it. It will teach your story. It will write your name beside the ones they once said you could never stand among. You are not chasing a dream. You are becoming the kind of person who earns it. And that journey, it starts now. It starts the second you decide that comfort is no longer enough. That you'd rather choke on ambition than nibble on mediocrity. So let them call you crazy. Let them laugh. Let them doubt. You just keep building. Keep burning. Keep showing up. Because the universe bows to those who refuse to be ignored. This isn't just motivation. This is war. A war against excuses. A war against your former self. A war against every limitation that dares to stand between you and your legacy. You want riches. Desire them. Feed them. And above all, become the kind of person who deserves them. You are not here to blend in. You are not here to mimic what's been done before. You are here to build what's never existed. And to do that, you must become what you've never been. Desire is not the goal. It's the furnace. It's the engine that powers the vessel through every storm, every failure, every rejection that will come for you the moment you decide to rise. Yes, failure will come. Let that be clear. You will fall. You will be laughed at. You will lose money, time, people. You will question everything. There will be nights where the silence feels like a cage and your reflection mocks you with disappointment. But that's where most people quit. They look at the rubble and say, "It wasn't meant to be." But those with desire, they don't stop. They look at the ashes and say, "Watch me build again." Because they know something the world keeps forgetting. Desire doesn't die in the fire. It is the fire. You want to change your life? Stop making excuses. Stop asking for a path with no resistance. The life you dream of will not come to the version of you who waits, who doubts, who hesitates. It will only come to the one who wakes up every day and becomes worthy of it, by doing what others refuse to do. Discipline over distraction. Faith over fear. Consistency over comfort. Desire doesn't look for the easy way. It makes the hard way look effortless. Because when you want it badly enough, your body may be tired. Your bank account may be empty. But your soul, your spirit, marches forward like an army that refuses to lose. That is what separates the rich from the broke, the fulfilled from the forgotten. The kings from the crowd. Desire is not just personal. It's spiritual. It's sacred. It is the thread that connects your soul to the future you were born to create. You think you're chasing success? No. Success is chasing you. But it's not coming to the version of you that hides. It's not coming to the you that waits to feel ready. It's coming for the you that wakes up and moves anyway. The one who takes the shot. The one who learns from the fall. The one who studies while others sleep, trains while others party, works while others whine. That's the version the universe rewards. That's the one fortune falls in love with. You say you want a better life? Then burn the bridges that lead back to the old one. Stop playing small. Stop playing safe. There is no victory for the man who never left the ground. And there is no greatness for the one who never risked falling. You must declare, with your actions, with your habits, with your fire, I will not leave this earth with my song unsung. I will not watch others live the life I was too scared to chase. Because regret is not some distant ghost. It is the quiet voice you hear every night when you know you let the day slip through your fingers. Don't let that voice become your legacy. Let your desire be louder. Let it scream into the dark. I was here. I fought. I burned. I became. You were not born to be buried under bills, drowned in routine, or numbed by the noise of an average life. You were born with the raw materials of greatness. But raw material doesn't build itself. It waits. For a hand to sculpt it. For a will to mold it. For a heart on fire to say, I will shape my destiny with these hands, even if they bleed. Desire is that blood. It is the sacred wound that says, this matters. It is the ache that keeps you awake not in fear, but in purpose. And the world has always bowed to those who live with purpose. When you walk with purpose, you don't need permission. When you burn with desire, you don't need applause. You don't wait for validation. You validate your own existence with the work you pour into your dream. You want others to believe in you. Good. But it starts with you refusing to doubt yourself. Not when things go well, but when everything falls apart and you still keep going. That is the moment desire reveals its truth. The crowd believes only after they see. But desire believes before there's anything to see. Before the money. Before the breakthrough. Before the applause. That's why most people never make it. Because they wait for signs, for guarantees, for someone else to go first. But visionaries, builders, warriors of destiny, they leap without wings. And build them on the way down. They understand that progress is born in silence. In lonely hours. In days when nothing makes sense but the fire inside. They know that while the world is distracted, entertained, sedated by convenience, they are carving stone. Not for today. Not for next month. But for legacy. So I'll ask again. What do you want? And how badly do you want it? Bad enough to sacrifice? Bad enough to be misunderstood? Bad enough to be alone, broke, exhausted, ridiculed, and still move forward? Because if the answer is yes, if your desire runs that deep, then you are already rich. You are already free. Because the first step toward any dream worth having is the will to suffer for it. That's what desire really is. A willingness to endure. To suffer for what you love. To bleed for what you believe in. And there is no power greater than a soul that has decided its dream is non-negotiable. They'll say you were lucky. They'll say you had help. They'll say you were born with something different. Let them talk. You'll know the truth. You'll remember the nights when it was just you and your demons. You and the mirror. You and the fire. You'll remember building when there was no blueprint. Walking when there was no path. Speaking belief into your bones when no one else would say your name. You'll remember that it started with desire. Not desire like the world defines it. Not craving. Not lust. Not a fleeting fantasy. But divine hunger. The kind that rewrites DNA. That bends time. That outwits Mother Nature herself. Because when every law of nature says you should have failed, desire whispers, not yet. You think gravity can hold back a soul on fire? You think genetics, location, trauma, education, poverty. You think these are enough to bury a man or woman who has truly decided. History proves otherwise. The Wright brothers didn't invent flight because they had more resources. They had more resolve. While others wrote essays on why man would never fly, they were breaking bones, crashing machines, and trying again. They weren't defying physics. They were obeying desire. And in the end, desire wins. It always does. Because desire doesn't respect odds. It doesn't flinch at statistics. It doesn't bow to impossibility. It keeps walking when legs are shaking. It keeps building when the walls collapse. It keeps dreaming when the rest of the world calls you delusional. And that's the secret. They always call you delusional until it works. Then they ask how you did it. But by then, the answer won't matter. Because you'll already be living what they only dared to imagine. You were not meant for safe harbors. You were born for deep waters. For storms. For oceans no one else dared to cross. And the compass that guides you, it's not logic. It's not data. It's not consensus. It's desire. Burning. Raging. Unapologetic. It doesn't care who tells you it's unrealistic. Because it knows something they don't. That every castle once stood where there was only dirt. That every titan once trembled in the dark. That every legend was once a nobody, who refused to stay that way. So stand up. Even if you're shaking. Speak your dream again. Even if your voice cracks. Take the step. Even if the ground feels unsure. Because desire doesn't require perfect timing. It creates its own. The world will tell you, be practical. Your fears will whisper, what if you fail? But let your fire answer with a question of its own. What if I don't? What if I wake up at 80, knowing I never gave it everything? What if the life I wanted was waiting for the version of me I was too scared to become? No. Not anymore. Not now. This is where the story changes. This is where the old you dies, and the real one is born. You want to build an empire? Then stop acting like a tenant. Start moving like an owner. Own your time. Own your habits. Own your ambition, even when it makes people uncomfortable. Because they won't understand it. Not now. But one day, they'll point to your name as proof that desire is greater than destiny. That grit is stronger than luck. That anyone, with nothing but a fire in their gut, can move mountains if they refuse to quit. So burn. Burn without apology. Burn with vision. Burn with love. Burn with madness. Burn with desire. And don't stop. Not until the world sees what you saw. Not until your name becomes proof that the impossible was just someone else's excuse. The truth is, no one is coming to save you. Not the government. Not your boss. Not your family. Not the algorithm. No one. But that's not a curse, that's freedom. Because when you realize no one's coming, you stop waiting. And you start becoming. You become the answer. You become the breakthrough. You become the force that rewrites the rules. And that process, that violent, beautiful transformation from who you were into who you were meant to be, it doesn't begin with a map. It begins with a decision. The decision to want it enough to endure the pain of becoming. The decision to silence every voice except the one in your chest that says, there's more. And I will find it. Because desire is not passive. It's not polite. It doesn't wait for permission or knock on the door gently. It kicks the door open and says, I'm here to collect what's mine. You think life is fair? Look again. Life gives power not to those who deserve it, but to those who demand it. Those who keep coming when most turn back. Desire is your weapon in a world that rewards consistency over charm. Not popularity. Not charisma. Relentless pursuit. That's what this game respects. Not who you know, but who you become when everything you know gets ripped away. Do you keep going when the support fades? Do you keep building when the applause stops? Do you rise when the lights go out? Because that's where greatness is born. Not on the stage, but in the silence. In the cold. in the nights you feel forgotten. But keep writing, keep training, keep sacrificing. That's where giants are made. Not in sunlight, but in storms. And the ones who survive, the ones who thrive, they don't do it by accident. They do it because they lit a fire inside so hot that no storm outside could match it. They do it because desire, real, unshakable, violent desire, outwits Mother Nature herself. Gravity said man couldn't fly. But desire disagreed. Illness said Helen Keller would be nothing. Desire gave her a voice louder than 1,000 healthy men. Death came for Walt Disney's dream multiple times. He buried it, dug it up, and built an empire in its place. This is what you're up against. A system designed to keep you quiet, small, forgettable. And this is what you're armed with. Desire. That is enough. If you choose to make it so. Don't let your fire go out. Not today. Not now. Not ever. Because someone, years from now, is going to hear your story. And in your scars, they'll find permission to chase their own greatness. In your discipline, they'll find direction. In your madness, they'll find courage. You owe it to them. But more than that, you owe it to yourself. To finish what you started. To see how far you can go when you stop doubting and start deciding. Because this isn't just a speech. It's a declaration. A battle cry. The spark to ignite the rest of your life. Now go. Go with desire in your lungs. Go with vision in your eyes. Go with fury in your steps. Go with the fire of 1,000 unfinished dreams burning behind you. And the strength to bring them all to life. Let the world say you were crazy. Let history prove you were right. And when they ask where it began, you won't have to say a word. They'll feel it. They'll know. It started the moment you refused to live without desire. That was the first step toward riches. The only step that ever mattered. The point where everything changed. You weren't made to live a recycled life. You weren't born to replay yesterday's script. You were built to write your own. With blood, with faith, with fire. And every line you write now, every action you take, every moment you lean into the discomfort instead of backing away, that's another step toward the man or woman you were destined to become. Let the world measure you by your past. You measure yourself by your capacity to evolve. Because desire doesn't care where you've been. It only asks, are you still willing to move forward? If the answer is yes, then you are already unstoppable. Because while others are still trapped in old stories, you're building a new one. One with scars and setbacks and tears, yes, but also with glory. And not the kind that fades when the lights go off. The kind that becomes legend. You see, this world doesn't reward the most talented. It rewards the most committed. The actors we idolize weren't always the best. They were just the ones who didn't quit after 100 rejections. The entrepreneurs we study didn't start with the perfect plan. They started with crazy ideas, and even crazier persistence. Steve Jobs was fired from the company he founded. He could have walked away. But his desire wouldn't let him. So he came back and changed the world again. Why? Because when desire lives in your bones, failure isn't final. It's just part of the blueprint. There will be voices. Voices that tell you you're not enough. That it's too late. That it's too risky. That someone else is already doing it better. Smile at those voices. They are the background noise of the average. The echo of the fearful. The last scream of the life that wants to keep you ordinary. But you weren't born for ordinary. You were born to disrupt. To awaken. To remind people what it looks like when one human being decides they're done negotiating with fate. You want to make a mark on this world? Then you have to become the kind of person who leaves one. Not with words. With action. With obsession. With a desire so strong it terrifies mediocrity. And you can feel it, can't you? The shift happening inside. The flicker turning into flame. That's not hype. That's not adrenaline. That's alignment. You, finally catching up to who you were always meant to be. You, no longer asking the world for permission. no longer waiting for the green light from a system that was never designed for greatness. You are the light. You are the signal. You are the force that cannot be contained anymore. This is the moment that splits your life in two. Before and after. Before desire ruled you, and after you learned to rule with it. Before you chased comfort, and after you married purpose. Before you doubted, and after you became undeniable. So don't go back. Not now. Not ever. You've seen what you're capable of when you stop waiting. You've tasted the power of moving from want to will. You felt the shift, the click, the truth of who you are. Now live it. Every day, every breath, every step forward is proof. Proof that desire outwits Mother Nature. That it bends gravity. That it breaks through glass ceilings and builds skyscrapers on foundations made of failure and belief. This is no longer about dreams. This is about destiny. And destiny doesn't wait. You are born to move mountains, to turn impossible into inevitable, to stand when others fall, to fight when others flee, to rise when others rest. Because desire is not a gentle flame. It is a roaring inferno that consumes doubt, that burns excuses to ash, that lights the way through the darkest nights. Look around. The history of humanity is the history of desire made real. From the first spark that kindled fire, to the relentless hands that forged steel, to the minds that dreamed of flying while grounded by gravity. All of it started with one thing, a desire so fierce it refused to be denied. You want success? Then fuel your fire. Feed your obsession. Let every setback be the wind that fans your flame higher. There is no shortcut, no magic formula. Only the raw, unyielding force of will shaped by desire. Henry Ford didn't wait for conditions to be perfect. He built the car in the face of failure and ridicule. Abraham Lincoln rose from poverty and despair, driven by a purpose that no setback could extinguish. Nikola Tesla's visions defied understanding, powered only by a passion that burned beyond reason. They were not special. They were not chosen. They were simply unwilling to give up on their desire. And neither should you be. Every great achievement begins at the same place. A choice. A choice to refuse complacency. A choice to embrace the grind. A choice to surrender comfort for greatness. You must decide now. Will you be a prisoner of fear, or a master of your destiny? Will you accept a life half-lived, or will you burn bright enough to change everything? Desire outwits Mother Nature. Yes, because it turns weakness into strength, pain into power, dreams into reality. It shatters limits, breaks chains, and creates paths where none existed. So when you wake up tomorrow, don't just wish for change, ignite it. Don't just hope for success, hunt it relentlessly. Don't just dream, build. Build with every ounce of fire you carry inside. Build with a heart that refuses to quit. Build like your life depends on it, because it does. And the moment you do, when your desire becomes unstoppable, you will look back and realize that every struggle was a stepping stone, every failure a lesson, and every doubt just fuel for the fire. Because the starting point of all achievement is desire that will not be denied. Your destiny is waiting. The fire is burning. The time is now. Step into the storm. Stand in your power, and let your desire carve the future. This is your first step toward riches, the riches of purpose, passion, and undeniable success. Let the world witness what happens when desire outwits Mother Nature. The fire inside you is not just a flicker. It's a wildfire waiting to consume every obstacle, every doubt, every voice telling you no. This fire is your birthright, the very essence of what it means to be human. To desire, to dream, to build against all odds. Because nature itself bows to the will of desire. When the Wright brothers looked at the sky, they didn't see limits. They saw a calling. When Edison faced failure after failure, he didn't see defeat. He saw progress. When Helen Keller touched the world without sight or sound, she didn't see barriers. She saw possibility. This is the power you carry. Not in your bank account, not in your resume, not in the certificates on your wall, but in your soul's relentless hunger. Every morning, when you open your eyes, you stand at a crossroads. One path leads to comfort, to complacency, to the life you know. The other is wild and unknown, lined with pain, sacrifice, and the kind of discipline most refuse to embrace. But it's also the path of greatness, of transformation, of true riches beyond money. Riches of purpose, meaning, and legacy. You will face storms. You will meet resistance. You will battle the voices inside and out. But each step you take with burning desire is a step closer to the life only you can create. This is the starting point, the spark that ignites every journey worth taking. Know this: desire is a fierce companion. It does not tolerate half measures or wishful thinking. It demands clarity, conviction, and courage. It requires you to see your goal so clearly that failure is no longer an option, but a lesson. To hold your vision tighter than your fears. Desire transforms your mindset. It turns obstacles into opportunities. It changes how you see the world, and how the world sees you. When you harness this power, you step into a new reality, where limits dissolve and the impossible becomes possible. Remember the stories of those who changed history. Lincoln, who endured loss and heartbreak but refused to give up on unity and freedom. Ford, who revolutionized industry by believing in a better way. Disney, who chased his dreams despite bankruptcy and rejection. What made them different? Not luck, not talent alone, but an unyielding desire that refused to quit. Their desire outwitted Mother Nature. It defied convention, shattered expectations, and rewrote what was possible. And it will do the same for you. So rise with purpose. Chase your desire with relentless focus. Let it be the compass that guides you through darkness and doubt. Because this burning fire, is the true first step toward all achievement. Your destiny is waiting. Your legacy is calling. And it all begins with desire. Keep moving. Keep fighting. Keep burning. Because you were born for this. And the world is ready for you to show up, fully, fiercely, unbreakably. This is your moment. Make it count. You are the architect of your destiny, the master sculptor of your future. No force in the universe can stand against a soul set ablaze with desire. It bends the unyielding laws of nature, rewriting what is possible with every heartbeat, every breath. This is not mere hope, this is a call to arms. When Edison sat alone in his lab, surrounded by failure, he didn't give in. When Lincoln faced the darkest hours of a divided nation, he did not surrender. When Disney dreamed beyond what the world allowed, he crafted a kingdom of imagination. Their secret was not talent or luck. It was desire, the fierce, unrelenting force that pushed them beyond their limits. And that desire is inside you, waiting. Waiting for you to claim it. Waiting for you to wield it like a weapon. Waiting for you to ignite it so brightly that nothing, no obstacle, no doubt, can extinguish it. Rise up. Embrace the fire that burns in your chest. Let it drive you to do what others won't. To risk what others fear. To sacrifice what others cherish. Because greatness demands price, and desire is the currency you must pay. It demands resilience when the world says no. It demands faith when the path is dark. It demands relentless action when every part of you wants to stop. This is the nature of the starting point of all achievement. It is raw. It is unforgiving. And it is beautiful. The world will test you. It will push you to your breaking point and beyond. But every test is an invitation to prove your desire is stronger. Every failure is a lesson wrapped in disguise. Every no is a redirection toward your eventual yes. You must learn to dance in the storm, to smile in the face of adversity, to say to the universe, "Bring your worst, I am armed with desire." Because desire outwits Mother Nature. It rewires the impossible. It transforms the meek into warriors and the ordinary into legends. So, what will you do now? Will you walk away from this fire? Or will you let it consume you, remake you, and propel you to heights you never dreamed possible? The choice is yours. But remember this. Every great journey begins with a single, fiery step. A step fueled by desire so potent, it defies the natural order. Take that step. and the world will have no choice but to stand aside. Your moment is here. Your desire is alive. Your legacy begins now. Go forth and conquer. Because desire is the spark, the flame, the unstoppable force behind every great achievement. And you are the next. So rise. Rise like the storm you were born to be. Let your desire burn hotter than every doubt, every fear, every no that's ever tried to stop you. Remember this. The starting point of all achievement is the moment you decide, I will not be denied. This is your declaration, your battle cry, your sacred vow to yourself and the world. Desire outwits Mother Nature. It breaks chains, bends realities, and builds empires from nothing but belief and unrelenting will. And when you walk this path, no force on earth can stand in your way. Your time is now. Your fire is unstoppable. Your destiny awaits. Go claim it. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it with someone who needs motivation. Press the bell icon so you never miss a new story. More life-changing motivational stories are on the way.